Before we really get started, I want to tell you about a couple places that you can go to actually get help while you're going through this. Learning how to code is a whole new challenge, and when it comes to new challenges, obviously questions and errors and just general lack of knowledge happens consistently. That's why we put all of the code that we go through in all of our projects on GitHub. So if you go to joincfe.com/GitHub, it actually shows you all of the code that we've ever done. Now, as it relates to this course in particular, we click on repositories and we look for 30 days of Python. You might have to search for it, but that will actually be this particular project's repository. That is where we store all the code for each day. So if you actually scroll down to where the README is, you'll see this 30 days of Python thing. We have all of this code in here. Some things are just videos, but we definitely have code for every single day where it's relevant. Now, the nice thing about this code is you can compare what you do in the video to what we've written in the video. So you can actually look and copy and paste and do all the stuff with the code. Now, that's going to make a lot more sense once you actually work in it. But if you think of programming much like writing a book, writing code is just like this. So we actually have the code on here, much like if I was sharing a Word document with you or a PDF or something. I'm sharing the actual Python files with you in this case. Now, the next place to look is Stack Overflow. So stackoverflow.com is a place where just general professionals ask and answer questions. A lot of beginners do as well, but professionals also do this, where it's like a social way to get problems solved on a variety of programming languages, let alone just Python. But the nice thing about this is you can actually go in there and search something like, let's say, Python email, and this will give you our recent email stuff or recent questions that are related to Python and email. We actually cover some Python email stuff inside of 30 Days of Python, so this might be a relevant search that you do at some point. And the nice thing, too, with Stack Overflow is you can go based off of votes. So if I click on votes here, let's try that again. Sometimes they have these verification processes, of course, but if we click on votes, we see that, hey, we have some of these top questions and their answers. So using a regular expression to validate an email address. And then what does regex mean, or regular expression? What is that even? So those two are very relevant to each other and something that I encourage you to go back and look at after you go through 30 Days of Python. But the nice thing about Stack Overflow too is you can actually search things like how to validate an email address with Python. You do a Google search and that will likely give you a Stack Overflow actual response. You know, sometimes you'll see other tutorials and stuff like that, but usually Stack Overflow will be on there and you'll just click on it and then you'll look at the answers and the top voted answer, and this will likely give you some sort of answer there, which will save you a ton of time in many cases. Now, you're going to want to think through this stuff, and actually going through 30 Days of Python will help make a lot more of this stuff make sense. Now, regular expressions are a little bit more advanced than what we're going to cover, but we do have some of that on joincfe.com. We actually have a project on regular expressions if those of you are curious about it, but this is about getting help. The next thing, of course, is going to the actual class itself. So inside of 30 Days of Python class, you're going to want to ask questions on the particular videos themselves. So in the Q&A session, you can definitely ask questions, and I'll try and answer as many as I can, but I also want to encourage you to answer somebody else's question because it's going to make you think through the problem. And that's another thing that using Stack Overflow as well as answering questions for other people that will help you significantly get better at being a coder. Now, if you don't know the answer and you can't contribute, that's okay. Look at the question and then just write a note saying, yeah, I want to know this too. That way everybody else can know, and also we can all benefit from these quality of questions. Another place to go is on our YouTube channel. We have this Q&A session. So if you go to joincfe.com/YouTube, we have a bunch of YouTube stuff. Or if you just go to joincfe.com/knock, you'll see our this video that is talking about answering your questions, and you can ask all your questions here, and we'll try and do a public response for that in particular. And now, another thing I want to note is when you're watching these videos, this is right now you probably feel like, oh, wow, this is rapid fire. I'm going fast. This is kind of my pace. I actually do go fairly fast. It's really good for the more advanced users that just want to get the information as fast as possible. But for those of you who are like earlier starters or more beginners to Python or programming in general, you can actually jump in YouTube and change the speed. I think this is actually really, really awesome that YouTube and Udemy both have these things inside of the videos themselves. And the other part is you want to make sure that you're using 1080p. Use the best quality possible, otherwise the code is going to be hard to tell. Like if you're at 480, it's just not going to look as good. I mean, for some intro videos where I'm just talking, no big deal. You can absolutely use the 480p, but if you're on most of the code videos, 1080p is going to be by far the best watching these videos and consuming them. If you do have a slower internet connection, I do think it's worth waiting the buffering time to do 1080p. 720 should be decent. It should be good enough. Everything's recorded in 1080p at least, if not higher. So that is what we recommend. Those are the things that I just definitely want to get across to you guys about getting help and before you really jump into this course. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm really, really excited to have you. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but I am very, very excited to have you guys because I get to join you in this journey on learning how to code, and it's something that changed my life, and I hope it changes yours. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.